Women are pressured and told to marry when they're young because when women get older, they learn more about men. And the more that a woman knows about a man, the more she learns about men, the less likely it is that she's going to want to be with a man. Why do you think there's so much social pressure on women for marrying at a very early age? That's because the moment that women get older and start realizing how a lot of men are, I'm not saying all men, but the moment that they realize how a lot of men think, they're not going to want to be with one. And this is exactly why as soon as a woman gets into her 30s, all of a sudden people start asking her, why are you not married yet? Why haven't you started a family? You're in your 30s. You should have married early. Marry early. Marry while you're young. Marry while you have your youth. Marry while you're beautiful. Because when you're in your 30s, no one's going to want you. This comes from both men and women, exponentially more from men than it does from women, but we hear it on both ends. You've heard the questions from your aunts, your uncles, other family members. You're 30, you're 31, you're 32, you haven't started a family, you haven't found a husband yet, your clock is ticking, your beauty is running out. The thing is, women who are in their 30s and are single, it's because they're aware of how things are. They're aware of how men are. And they're not just going to settle because of familial or social pressure. They are not going to settle just because. And that's good. Because the moment you settle for somebody because you start feeling some pressure from motherfuckers telling you and asking you about a family and shit, you fucked up. You're settling because of other people's pressure, not because you really want to. And this is one of the reasons for why a lot of men who see a woman in her 30s and single think she's a red flag, because they can't manipulate her, they can't control her, they can't do whatever it is that they want with her, they can't play mind games on her. This woman in her 30s and single has mastered the art of solitude. She's okay with being alone, and a lot of men don't like that because they want to feel needed, which is why they go for the younger women to try to brainwash them and indoctrinate them into thinking they have to marry early on, because when they marry older, no one's going to want them. Think about that. Women are pressured to marry very early on because the more they learn about men, the less they want to be with one. Enjoy your youth and enjoy your beauty. Do not let no motherfucker rob you of your youth and your beauty, and do not let anybody pressure you into thinking you have to be married because you're a certain age. Live your life and enjoy it unapologetically.
I didn't love my wife when we got married. I loved the idea of a wife, and it's embarrassing to admit that. I married her for what she could bring to me, how she could improve my life.
I don't love my wife no more. Whatever feelings I had inside for her, they're dead, and they died a long time ago.
Where do I start? Well, G&H Macy here, your favorite psych nurse practitioner, bringing you another video on everything healing from toxic, narcissistic, high conflict relationships, recognizing red flags, and taking steps to start your healing journey, to start your next steps, so you're not completely losing yourself in such state. Today's video, the question is, do people stay in love forever? When you get into a relationship, you know, especially a romantic relationship, we are sold on this this notion of falling in love. First of all, should we be falling in love, or should we just be sliding into it, or should we slowly go through it? I mean, the appropriate thing is to like slowly getting to know someone, become friends or whatever, and ease into it. That's the word. Slide into it, ease into it, rather than falling. Like falling is like boom, and then when you wake up, like you bruise all over the place. Like, that's tragic. People do change. Relationships are for a season, for a reason, and maybe sometimes for a long term. But that's not always pan up like that for majority of people. There's bound to be breakups in relationships, friendships, whatever. So learning to choose you, even when you're in relationship, try to not lose yourself in that relationship. Second point is, when you recognize red flags in a relationship, red flags could be your preferences. It doesn't have to be the person B's choices. So whatever might be working for person B might not necessarily work for you. That's why you gotta know yourself so well enough to know, okay, oh, this is my preference. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. This person makes this whatever feeling, name it, within you, come up for me. This is what I see clients day to day in my daily work. Like, what comes up when you're with this person? Are you overly anxious? And do you even know what anxiety feels like for you? Are you sweaty? Are you tight at the back of your neck? Is your stomach hurting? Do you feel a knot in your throat? Do you feel sweaty on here? Are you shaking? Some people might have pseudo shakes when they are anxious. Are you sweating your armpit? Are you feeling like you're losing control? Your heart rate beating? Are you maybe in a panic mode? Those things, you're sitting there and now analyze how you feel when you're dating, when you're in a relationship with that person. If you're in it, know that people change. People switch up. Things happen in life. People evolve as they grow. I live every couple of years, people change. So when you go to back to the drawing board, like, is this person a person that I can continue to reassign myself to? It's like leasing a car, right? I think marriage relationship should be like a lease, like at least every 4 to 5 years, go back to say, do I want to sign another lease or like apartment or whatever on this, or should we call it quit? But a lot of relationships don't have check-ins like that, especially if it's an unpredictable, volatile, chaotic type, really toxic type relationship. Nothing like that is going on. So it's up to you to center you, even while you're in it, even while you're dating, collecting the data. What kind of data are you collecting? And knowing ahead of time that, romantic relationship, a lot of times it's a scam. Go into a relationship because you know what you can gain from it, what you can gain from it, and your children. If you lay down to have a child or 2 or 3 with that person, you should be able to gain some type of support, financial support especially, so you can take care of yourself, take care of the kids, while you do what you got to do too, right? And as well, you got to work, but whatever lifestyle you had before the whole change start happening, so at least you can start to slowly work towards securing that. So I'm here to say, no, for me, from my standpoint, let me know in the comments if you think love in a relationship lasts forever. For me, it doesn't. People change. And that's why the only thing that will not change is you sitting with you. You sitting with you. So analyze, what are your patterns? What are your parents' patterns? What did you grow up seeing? What do you need to unlearn? What are some of the patterns? What are some of the people-pleasing tactics? What are some of the cultural beliefs even you have around relationships or doing relationships, situationships? Do you crap fit yourself to a relationship? Do you let relationship define you so much because you got a ring? Does that matter to you so much that wearing that ring signifies something to you? Well, a lot of men really elevate themselves when they are with a woman. But a lot of women can't do okay without being in a relationship, especially if they've gone through a long-term relationship, they have a couple kiddos. If you're in a very open-minded, stable place as a woman, you want to spend more time now healing yourself, doing the work, and learning things, finding the next phase of yourself. You don't tend to jump into another relationship real quick unless you have a void within you, or you're the lucky ones who find someone really good real quick. Then hey, good for you. But a lot of times finances are the big reason why a lot of women might jump into another long-term relationship real quick, especially if you're accustomed to a certain lifestyle and that person leaves you, and now you kind of have to adjust, which, a lot of time going through divorce, it's not easy. A lot of things change. So a lot of women will choose to believe love is forever, and they'll try to do everything that will be potentially looking like love in order to continue to stay in that relationship. So what do you think? I don't think love, air quote, falling in love is a thing and it lasts forever. Things change, people change. And when you recognize it, it's your duty to preserve yourself, to center yourself, to take care of yourself, to preserve yourself and to preserve those children, and maybe make the next steps happen as quickly as you can. Find new community, work on your friendships, and you'll be fine. Okay, bye.
I have been asked about 500 times to give women a list of green flags in men. If you're asking me that, you haven't quite understood my page. My page is about decentralizing men from your female brain. Stop making them such a priority that you forget that you have responsibilities to contribute to this world and this ummah. I'm done with the cultural, emotional and mental coercion, and most of you girls don't even realize this because you've been hearing it since you were 3 years old. Shadi karni hai, shadi karni hai, go get married. It's not your only purpose on earth. There are no Muslim women contributing to the big academic research done in this world. There's barely any Muslim women involved in politics. There are barely any Muslim women who are leading in humanitarian law. We're such a minority in active spaces in the world that when women are asking me, how do I pick a man? How well can I pick a man? Left, right, up and down, everything around a man. Get a life. I'm up to my eyeballs in girls asking me, I'm not going to give you a green flag. Do you know why? Because when you are living an aligned life and you prioritize Allah, you will give off this energy that will attract a like-minded, decent human being. You won't need to look that much for red flags, because the red flag guys will look at you and be like, I'm not going over there. She will munch me in 3.5 seconds. I'm not going over there. But when you're like puppy dog eyes with your tongue out of your mouth like this, like a thirsty dog, I want a man. How can I get a man? How can I secure a man? You're not asking, how can I have a career that contributes to this ummah, so when I die and I'm in my grave, I can answer Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this is what I did with my life in your name. I don't want